E.N.D here, day 5 for the spoilers of Innistrad Crimson Vow. After a very poor number of cards spoiled this weekend, today we have a good amount of cards spoiled. Let's start. And I want to start with a reprint. Abrade for 1 and 1 red, it's an instant, it deals 3 damage to target creature or destroy target artifact. Resistant Team for 2 and 1 white, it's a 3/2, enters the battlefield if you control another human, draw a card. Arm the Cutters for 1 and 2 white, it's a sorcery. Until end of turn, target creature get +3/+3, up to another target creature get +2/+2, and up to another target creature get +1/+1. They each gain vigilance until end of turn. Olenboke scores for 1 white, it's a 1/1 with vigilance. Sacrifice it, target creature you control with a +1/+1 counter on it, gains lifelink and indestructible until end of turn. Radiant Grace for 1 white, it's an enchantment, enchant creature, enchanted creature gets +1/+0 and has vigilance. When enchanted creature dies, return it to the battlefield, transformed under your control, attached to target opponent. And when it returns to the battlefield, its Radiant Restraint, enchant player, creatures enchanted player controls enters the battlefield tapped. Twin Blade Geist for 1 and 1 white, it's a 1/1 with double strike, disturb for 2 and 1 white, which means that if this card is in your graveyard, you can disturb it and it comes on the battlefield as Twin Blade Invocation, enchanted creature has double strike. Mischief Geist for 1 and 1 blue, it's a 1/1, when it deals combat damage to a player, draw a card, disturb for 2 and 1 blue. Again here, when it's in your graveyard, if you pay the disturb cost, it comes on the battlefield as Cat-like Curiosity. Enchant creature, whenever enchanted creature deals combat damage to a player, draw a card. Whispering Wizard for 3 and 1 blue, it's a 3/2. Whenever you cast a non-creature spell, create a 1/1 white spirit creature token with flying. This ability triggers only once each turn. Diver's Cup for 3 and 2 blue, it's a 3/5 with exploit. When it exploits a creature, target creature's owner put it on the top or bottom of their library. Gloom's Finery for 1 and 1 black, it's an artifact equipment. Equip creature gets +2/+0, and it gets an additional +0/+2 and has that touch as long as an equipment name Bright's Gone is attached to a creature you control, equipped for 2. Wedding Security 3 and 2 black, it's a 4/4. Whenever it attacks, you may sacrifice a blood token. If you do, put a +1/+1 counter on it and draw a card. Bloodsworn Squire for 3 and 1 black, it's a 3/3. For 1 and 1 black, discard the card, it gains indestructible until end of turn, tap it. Then, if there are 4 or more creature cards in your graveyard, transform it, and it transforms into Bloodsworn Knight. Its power and toughness are equal to the number of creatures in your graveyard. For 1 and 1 black, discard the card, it gains indestructible until end of turn, tap it. Magma Pummeler X and 2 red, enters the battlefield with X +1/+1 counters on it. If damage would be dealt to it while it has a +1/+1 counter on it, prevent that damage and remove that many +1/+1 counters. When 1 or more counters are removed from it this way, it deals that much damage to any target. Cloaked Cadet 4 and 1 green, it's a 2/4 with training. Whenever 1 or more +1/+1 counters are put on 1 or more humans you control, draw a card. This ability triggers only once each turn. Laid to Rest 3 and 1 green, it's an enchantment. Whenever a human you control dies, draw a card. Whenever a creature you control with a +1/+1 counter on it dies, you gain 2 life. Retrieve for 2 and 1 green, it's a sorcery. Return up to 1 target creature card and up to 1 target non-creature permanent from your graveyard to your hand, exile it. Guardian Paladin for 2, 1 green and 1 white, it's a 4/4, has trample and lifelink as long as you put 1 or more +1/+1 counters on a creature this turn. For 1, 1 green and 1 white, target creature control with a +1/+1 counter gains trample and lifelink until end of turn. Brine Comber for 1, 1 white and 1 blue, it's a 1/1, enters the battlefield or becomes the target of an aura spell, create a 1/1 white spirit creature token with flying. Disturb for 1 white and 1 blue, and when you disturb it, it comes on the battlefield as Brimebound Gift. Enchant creature, whenever it enters the battlefield or enchanted creature becomes the target for an aura spell, create a 1/1 white spirit creature token with flying. So those were some common and uncommon cards. Now is the turn of rare cards. Dreadfeast Demon 5 and 2 black, it's a 6/6 with flying. At the beginning of your end step, sacrifice a non-demon creature. If you do, create a token that's a copy of Dreadfeast Demon. Lantern Flare 1 and 1 white, it's an instant. Cleave X 1 red and 1 white. It deals X damage to target creature or planeswalker and you gain X life. X is the number of creatures you control, but if you pay the cleave cost, then it's deals X damage to target creature or planeswalker and you gain X life. If you don't know how to play cleave, I did a tutorial explaining how this particular mechanic works. Falkenrath 4 bear for 2 and 1 black, it's a 3/1 with flying, can't block. It deals combat damage to a player, create a blood token. For 1 black, sacrifice 2 blood tokens, return it from your graveyard to the battlefield. And there's also the Dragora series version of this card. Remember that Crimson Vow has box stoppers, and you can find one of these nice cards in those box stoppers. Curse of Hospitality 2 and 1 red, enchantment, it's an aura curse, enchant player. Creatures attacking enchanted player have trample. Whenever a creature deals combat damage to an enchanted player, that player exiles the top 3 cards of your library. Until end of turn, that creature's controller may play that card and they may spend mana as though it were mana of any color. Horrifying Dollhouse for 5, it's an artifact. For 1 tap, exile a creature card from your graveyard. Create a token that's copy of that card, except it's a 0/0 construct artifact creature with. This creature gets +1/+1 for each construct you control. That creature gains haste until end of turn, activate only as a sorcery. Howlpeck Piper 3 and 1 green, it's a 2/2. It's a human werewolf. This spell can be countered. For 1 and 1 green, tap, you may put a creature card from your hand on the battlefield. If it's a wolf or werewolf, untap it, activate only as a sorcery, and it has day bound, which means that when it's day, it's Howlpeck Piper. When it's night, it's Wildsong Howler. It's a 4/4. Whenever this creature enters the battlefield or transforms into Wildsong Howler, look at the top 5 cards of your library. You may reveal a creature card among them and put it into your hand. Put the rest in the bottom end of your library in random order. Inspired Idea 2 and 1 blue, it's a sorcery, cleave 3 and 2 blue, draw 3 cards. Your maximum hand size is reduced by 3 for the rest of the game. If you pay the cleave cost, then it's draw 3 cards. Ascendant Pack Leader for 1 green, it's a 2/1. Enters the battlefield with a +1/+1 counter on it if you control a permanent with mana value 4 or greater. Whenever you cast a spell with mana value 4 or greater, put a +1/+1 counter on it. Hamlet Vanguard 2 and 1 green, it's a 1/1 with War 2. Enters the battlefield with 2 +1/+1 counters on it for each non-token human you control. Mythic cards, and let's start with a big one. Necro Duality 3 and 1 blue, it's an enchantment. Whenever a non-token zombie enters the battlefield under your control, create a token that's copy of that creature. Very simple, very strong card. Cemetery Prowler for 1 and 2 green, it's a 3/4, it's a wolf with vigilance. Enters the battlefield or attacks, exile a card from a graveyard. Spells you cast cost 1 less to cast for each card type they share with cards exiled with Cemetery Prowler. So this means that if you exile an instant or sorcery card, your instants and sorcery cards will cost 1 less, and if you exile an artifact or a creature, your creatures and artifacts will cost 1 less, etc, etc. I don't think it's a bad card overall. Did mono green decks needed another big creature? I think yes, because we have Cultivator Colossus 4 and 3 green. Its power and toughness are each equal to the number of lands you control and has trample. When it enters the battlefield, you may put a land card from your hand on the battlefield tapped. If you do, draw a card and repeat this process. So that was the last card in this particular day 5 of the spoilers of Innistrad Crimson Vow. Tune in tomorrow for more and more spoilers about this nice set, and don't forget to subscribe to my channel for more and more interesting videos about Magic the Gathering and the collectible world.